You went to sleep rich and woke up broke. No warning shot, no declaration of war, just a catastrophic crash that vaporized $200 billion and sent the greatest economy on Earth into a decade-long freefall. Let's rewind to the party before the funeral. Picture America in 1922. The boys are back from Europe, the suits are sharp, and the economy is absolutely cooking. Factories that once cranked out artillery shells are now pumping out mass-produced washing machines and refrigerators. The whole country is getting wired together. By 1929, 10 million households have radios. They're tuning in to the exact same crackly AM signals for baseball scores and soap operas, creating a massive, highly connected consumer market. But out in those wired cities, everyone is indulging in a brand new pastime, buying things they can't afford. Want a radio? Finance it. A brand new Studebaker? Finance it. Banks are handing out installment plans like Halloween candy to anyone who can fog a mirror. Economists swore the good times were here to stay, but the entire setup is an illusion. People are buying a lifestyle they haven't actually earned yet, creating a fragile economy running entirely on personal debt. The real circus is down on Wall Street. By the late 1920s, the stock market is Disneyland for adults who think they're geniuses. This diagram shows exactly how they fueled the madness. It's called margin buying. You put down $10 in cash to purchase $100 worth of stock. The other $90, you borrow it from a broker. You get the full payout and worry about the loan later. Watch as that line shoots straight up. Between 1924 and 1929, the Dow quadruples. Stock prices completely sever their connection to reality, ignoring actual corporate earnings, because the only metric anyone cares about is the upward trajectory. When a financial ecosystem operates on borrowed cash, gravity becomes fatal. Any slight downward slip forces brokers to recall their loans, triggering widespread defaults and guaranteeing a total structural wipeout. October 29, 1929, Black Tuesday. The market goes off a cliff. Ticker tape machines choke on red numbers, phone lines melt, and $14 billion evaporate in a single day. Margin calls hit like a wrecking ball. Brokers demand immediate repayment on all that borrowed money. Desperate investors scramble, find nothing, and are forced to sell everything they own simultaneously, driving stock prices straight into the ground. Then the panic jumps the fence. Those grand marble banks have taken everyday people's checking accounts and gambled them on the exact same crashing market. Word gets out and Americans run. Families descend on branch offices, pounding on locked doors, screaming for their cash. But grandpa's bonds and the Christmas accounts are gone. A whole generation learns in 1 week that their life savings simply vanished. The shockwave quickly crosses the Atlantic. American banks, desperate for liquidity, yank their overseas loans. Europe goes into freefall. Germany's fragile economic recovery implodes, and global trade drops by half in 3 years. Because the plumbing of 1920s finance lacked any firewalls, a localized panic in Manhattan easily triggered an unstoppable global freeze. By 1931, unemployment hits 25%. 1 in 4 working Americans simply cannot find a job. Detroit's auto plants sit empty. Mothers wait in urban breadlines before dawn for a single bowl of watery soup. Then nature piles on. Out on the Great Plains, years of aggressive farming have stripped the topsoil bare. A multi-year drought cracks the dirt, and the wind whips it into black blizzards that block out the midday sun and suffocate livestock. Families load whatever fits into beaten-down forts and head west toward California. Most find out pretty quickly there's no salvation waiting for them there. In Washington, President Herbert Hoover serves up denial with a smile. He sticks to his belief in private charity and restrained government, refusing large-scale federal relief because he views it as un-American. In the summer of 1932, the public's remaining faith snaps. 20,000 World War I veterans march on the Capitol demanding their promised service bonuses. The government responds by sending in the cavalry to drive American veterans out of their own capital at bayonet point. Combine empty stomachs with extreme political denial, and society starts shaking at the roots. Communist organizers find eager audiences. Bank robbers like John Dillinger become folk heroes because they're the only ones sticking it to the institutions that ruined everything. March 1933. Franklin Delano Roosevelt takes the oath of office and immediately initiates massive federal spending. He moves from Hoover's policy of restraint to a direct, government-funded mobilization of the economy. FDR launches widespread public works. Within weeks, the Civilian Conservation Corps and the Works Progress Administration are handing young men shovels and paychecks. They plant 3 billion trees and build hundreds of airports, giving invisible citizens a direct role in building their own country. The government also funds the Federal Arts Project, paying photographers, writers, and musicians to document the gritty reality of the era and capture the bruised soul of a struggling nation. People still need a way to cope. They pack into movie theaters to watch a gray, hard world turn technicolor in The Wizard of Oz. In the middle of an economic catastrophe, they still spend dimes to find temporary relief. These programs moved millions of people from breadlines back into a structured workforce. By providing paychecks for manual labor and public art, the government ensured that a significant portion of the population was no longer idle or invisible. With the immediate bleeding slowed, FDR goes after the system itself. He starts drafting regulations to fix the architectural flaws of the 1920s economy. This schematic illustrates the new defenses. The newly created SEC slaps constraints on Wall Street's wild trading, while the FDIC acts as a firewall to ensure depositor savings never evaporate in a bank run again. Then comes Social Security. It creates a guarantee that if you work and sacrifice, the country has your back when you reach old age. These policies stabilize the country, but the ultimate end of the unemployment crisis required something much darker. Factories roared back to life not for consumer appliances, but to pump out rifles and bombers for World War II. The Great Depression left behind a government that now accepted permanent responsibility for the economic survival of its citizens, a complete departure from the hands-off policies that allowed the initial collapse to go unchecked.